Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do another comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S21 and the newly released iPhone 12 Pro. I guess both these phones are newly released in a way. Now, I'll definitely tell you, surprisingly, the iPhone 12 Pro isn't really the competitor this year against the Samsung Galaxy S21. That's more so the iPhone 12, but still, these two phones, I guess, are flagships that people are still going to put against each other. Now, I will leave both these linked down below for the cheapest prices that I find on Amazon. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can see that we kind of have the same thing going on. We obviously have the notch on the iPhone 12 Pro, but both phones, I mean, the Samsung Galaxy S21 is just a little bit longer, but the iPhone 12 Pro is a little bit wider. Now, on the iPhone 12 Pro, we have a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and overall, it's a really, really good screen. I think you guys have heard me talk about it. It's a great panel for the most part, but surprisingly, I think it's a worse panel than last year's phones. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's still a good panel, but it's nothing that wowed me this year. No fingerprint sensor in the display. The notch is still there. No refresh rate increase. Pretty much what we expected from the other iPhones, and we pretty much got it here. So when you look at something like the Samsung Galaxy S21, even though it still has a lower resolution panel from its predecessor and 120 hertz refresh rate and stuff, it's still pretty much a better panel than the iPhone 12s. Any of the iPhones that have ever came out, this panel is better because of that 120 hertz refresh rate. And even though it's a lower resolution panel than the iPhone 12 Pro, I still have to give it here. They have the fingerprint sensor in the display, and overall the panel looks better. No notch, still the whole punch. I don't have a problem with it. For sure, when it comes down to the front, the Samsung Galaxy S21 is the winner there. On the bottom, Lightning on the iPhone 12 Pro, USB Type-C on the Samsung Galaxy S21. In terms of the thinness and thickness, honestly, they kind of got the same thing going on. I feel like the 12 Pro is the overall thicker one, but because of the curved back, I kind of have to add a couple of, couple maybe like centimeters into it, and they kind of feel like the same thing. I think you guys can probably tell from the top too. Now on the back, this is probably I don't understand what Samsung was thinking, to be honest. When you look at the back of the iPhone 12 Pro, this is such a premium feeling device from the sides of the phone to the back. I mean, this is a beautiful looking phone. The Samsung Galaxy S21 looks like a beautiful phone, but you have a plastic back on it. And I can definitely tell you from feeling both in the hand, you are going to be getting a much better feeling phone from the iPhone 12 Pro than on the Samsung Galaxy S21. And that's the best way to put it. I mean, at the end of the day, the S21 just doesn't feel as good as the iPhones of this year. The S21 Ultra, though, that's a different question. Even the S21 Plus, different question. This one, with its plastic back, I'm not a huge fan. However, both have wireless charging, which is great, but the Galaxy S21 does have reverse wireless charging, and this is why it's just so much flip-flopping. Like, on one hand, this phone's better, on the other hand, this phone's better in some areas, and that's honestly what it's supposed to be. But when it comes down to the feeling of both phones in the hand, the iPhone 12 Pro is by far the best feeling iPhone for sure, and it feels so much better than the Samsung Galaxy S21. But when it comes down to the actual functionality, you got the reverse wireless charging, you have the fingerprint sensor in the display, and you have 120 hertz. That's some really cool capability you have on this phone that you don't necessarily have on the iPhone 12 Pro. And you do have the LiDAR sensor as well as the triple camera setups on both, but only the iPhone 12 Pro has a LiDAR sensor, and in terms of the body, that pretty much covers it up. Now, I think typically software would be the biggest difference between these two phones, but I would honestly say it's the same thing here. The biggest difference between these two phones comes down to the software. The iPhone is running stock iOS. The Samsung is running, a bloated version of Android. Depending on which one you like, I always prefer stock. I like stock Android. I like on the Samsung side right now, I can definitely tell you, you're going to be getting a bloated version of Android. So keep that in mind. It's not the end of the world, but as I always state, it is something to keep in mind. So when you're going from one device to the other, you're going to like the fluidity and stockness of the iPhone 12 Pro for sure. But when it comes down to, day-to-day use, and even just the longevity of both, you're going to be getting a longer supported phone from the iPhone for sure. So when it comes down to that, the iPhone is going to get you better, software lifecycle. You're going to be getting a much longer software supported phone on the iPhone 12 Pro than on the Samsung Galaxy S21. Now, is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. I think both these phones still have a lot of capability when it comes down to software and features and stuff. But if we're talking raw software updates and you want the phone that's just going to last you for as long as when you pick up the iPhone 12 Pro, you are going to be getting software updates for so long that you're going to, resell this phone or break the phone before it's even done. With the Samsung Galaxy S21, it's like the opposite. A lot of people wind up picking this phone next year or the year after, and they're already going to be halfway through or almost done with its software lifecycle. So it's definitely something Android needs to work on, but in terms of software updates, that pretty much covers it up. And the battery department, surprisingly, the Samsung Galaxy S21 definitely wins here. From my tests, from what I've seen, Android is just killing it with battery life since like the Galaxy S10, specifically Samsung. So when it comes down to the battery life, the Samsung Galaxy S21 is also going to be the winner there as well. So when you combine software, battery life, the iPhone wins in software, the Samsung wins in battery life. So in terms of that, that pretty much covers it up. Now let's go and do a speed test between both these phones. The iPhone 12 Pro has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the Samsung Galaxy S21 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset inside of it with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. Okay, we're back. Now I think I have some apps that are similar, so we'll go ahead and try it out. All the apps are clear out now. Let's do their app stores. 3, 2, 1. And I think for sure, again, the Galaxy S21 is the winner here. Scrolling through, we'll go and see which one is the faster and smoother one. And I'm not really too sure if there's like one that's specifically the winner. I think they both were kind of the same thing, to be completely honest. Maybe the Samsung Galaxy S21 was the smoother one overall. But yeah, I think that pretty much covered up that one. Now I'll go ahead and load up as many apps as I can that are similar between both. And I guess we'll just get into it. Let's go ahead and do Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And I think the Samsung Galaxy S21 quite obviously was the winner there. Getting to some gameplay, let's see if there's a difference here. And I really don't think there's going to be a difference, but definitely for sure in terms of the app opening, the Samsung Galaxy S21 was the faster one. Let's go ahead and do stack. 3, 2, 1. And again, the Samsung Galaxy S21 was the faster one there for sure again. Now I do want to try out this gameplay because it's kind of interesting because this is a very basic game, but sometimes it does glitch up on both, which is very weird. And you can see right now, they both kind of have the same thing going on, so not really like a big difference here at all. Let's hop out of this one. Let's go ahead and do Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. And you can see maybe the Samsung Galaxy S21 is going to be the faster one. It's still very close between both, but maybe the S21 will conquer, and you can see the S21 was a winner. iPhone 12 Pro just a little bit behind, very, very close indeed. Definitely not a ginormous, difference, but I think the Samsung Galaxy S21 was for sure the winner there again. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and do the next one, which is Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. Now there's a chance it's going to glitch up on pretty much every single phone I've tested on so far. But let's go and see how this one is. So different UIs on both again. We did get the pop-up here first, so I may assume that this one is better. I'm not like 100% too sure, but that is something to kind of keep in mind. Let's go ahead and do something like Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. And the S21 is able to open that up almost immediately. I didn't have it in the background. I know it kind of looked like it, but it didn't because I closed out of all the apps. The iPhone 12 Pro was, a little bit behind. Not a big deal. Let's go and do BOFA. 3, 2, 1. And the S21 again was the winner here. iPhone 12 Pro definitely a little bit behind. In terms of the animations, I think actually the iPhone may be a little bit smoother and a little bit faster. I don't really like the vibration sensor that's on the Samsung right now, so it kind of made it feel a little bit weird. Let's go ahead and hop back all the way in the beginning, open up their app stores. Pretty much the same thing going on, not a big difference there. Let's scroll to the side, Snake versus Blocks. Okay, both of them open that up pretty much the same way too. Let's go and hop out again. Let's go and do Stack. Pretty much the same thing too, and they've kind of put it onto the display the same time too, so maybe it's not really a crazy big difference. Temple Run 2, pretty much the same thing. So I think in terms of the performance standpoint, I really think the Samsung Galaxy S21 may be a little bit faster, and with its 120 Hz refresh rate, it did make it overall feel like it was a smoother phone, which is really great. But I still think the iPhone 12 the 12 Pro specifically is going to be the smoother one when it comes down to it. But the Samsung Galaxy S21 is the faster one when it comes down to it. So that's kind of my opinion. That's kind of how I see both. So that pretty much covers it up in the speed comparison. Let's go and hit on the cameras now. Now, as I stated before, triple camera setups on both. This iPhone 12 Pro has the wide-angle lens, telephoto lens, and ultra-wide sensor with that LiDAR sensor, where the Samsung Galaxy S21 has that wide-angle lens, ultra-wide sensor, then the telephoto lens as well. Now, in terms of the camera UI, as most of you already know by now, you're pretty much going to be getting almost the same thing, but there's a pretty big difference. The Samsung Galaxy S21 does have that 8K capability. The iPhone 12 Pro does not have 8K. It can only tap out at 4K at 60, but still 4K at 60 on both, but you do have that 8K capability in the S21, so keep that in mind. 4K at 60 on both on the front as well. I will tell you the S21 will give you more features overall for that camera than the iPhone 12 Pro for sure, so that's a pretty big thing to keep in mind. Now, I will be doing a full camera comparison between both these phones, but I can definitely tell you I've been using the 12 Pro as a main device for a couple of months now since it came out, and I think this camera is perfect enough for my needs. Anything I've ever done with this camera, it was perfectly good. It's expected. I know the quality that I'm getting almost every single time I use this type of camera. Funny enough, for every single, this is like pretty decent lighting I have right here, and anytime, maybe it's like what I'm like filming or something, but it makes everything look so grainy. But I think the iPhone 12 Pro's camera overall is pretty good. And one thing I've always known about Samsung on their side is pretty much they like popping out colors. They like making the colors look more vivid and more colorful. I think the ultra wide sensor overall, zooms out more on the Samsung Galaxy S21 than on the iPhone 12 Pro. So that's maybe like a minor thing to keep in mind. I think the quality is good and great on the S21. I don't really know if one is a crazy big difference though. Mostly the main thing that I see is the 8K capability here, but we had that last year too. It is a pretty big difference, but it is still something that's kind of in its infancy. So I think quality wise, you'll have to wait for my full camera comparison. But I think when it comes down to both of these, maybe the S21 is better because it has more features and stuff. But I think the 12 Pro's camera is still really, really good for sure. So now we made it to the end of the video, and to kind of answer the question, which one should you pick up? Should you pick up the Samsung Galaxy S21, or should you go and buy an iPhone 12 Pro? Well, this is what I'll tell you. Right now, as of this point, I've been using the 12 Pro longer than what I've been using the Galaxy S21 for. And you may think that I might just say, oh, buy the 12 Pro because it's the better phone. But honestly, I really don't think either one of these are it for a majority of people out there. I think the 12 Pro is a safer phone overall, but I think the Galaxy S21, even though it lacks micro SD card stuff from its predecessor, even though it lacks, the specific, the glass back or whatever, I think when I still look at the S21, when it's, hundreds of dollars cheaper than the iPhone 12 Pro, I feel like this isn't lacking as much as the 12 Pro. When I look in this day and age, with its fingerprint sensor in the display, that's a big deal in my opinion. That in and of itself just screams to me that I would rather pick up a phone like this than something like an iPhone 12 Pro. If I'm starting from scratch, if I don't have any iCloud backups or Samsung backups or whatever, if I had to go blindly, the fact that this phone is cheaper and it also gives me more features, reverse wireless charging and stuff, I may just go and want to pick up something like a Samsung Galaxy S21. I mean, at the end of the day, this thing has a really big feature that I want, which is the fingerprint sensor in the display. When we're all wearing masks and stuff, that's a pretty big deal. Apple still has yet to do it, but that doesn't necessarily mean the iPhone 12 Pro is not worth it. I think the 12 Pro is an amazing phone. I've been using it as my main phone since it came out, and I like it, but it just is more of the same. When I look at the S21, I'm really jealous of some certain things: the 120 Hz refresh rate, the fingerprint sensor in the display, the reverse wireless charging. These are things that I wish my iPhone 12 Pro had, even with the notch up top. It just kind of seems like I'm still using the same old when I have my iPhone 12 Pro. So I think to kind of sum this one up, I mean, I'll definitely tell you, if you have a bias towards iOS, get the iPhone 12 Pro. If you have a bias for Android, get the Galaxy S21. But I think if you had to pick up one for the price tag, and to be honest, which one's the better value per dollar, I think the Galaxy S21 is a better value per dollar. But I think the iPhone 12 Pro is still the phone I would rather pick up personally, because I love Apple's ecosystem. I love having it connect to my Apple Watch and my AirPods and my Mac and all that stuff, and getting iMessage on my Mac. Like, I love all that stuff. But if you don't care about that stuff, I think the Samsung Galaxy S21 may be the better phone for you. So that's pretty much how I'd sum it up. Again, links will be down in the description if you want to pick up either one of these. That's really pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much as well, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.